Hello. Welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. I should have done this a little sooner. It's fine. Welcome on in, everybody. I hope everyone is having a good Monday. It's actually, we're like only just a couple of days away from the end of the year, which is crazy. This is actually like it's kind of like the final week of 2025, but also the beginning week of 2026. It's crazy. Also, you probably have noticed I got a new background. So yeah, the other day I tried to show this, like, what was it? It was on Saturday. I tried to show this background. Hi, you Squid. Welcome on in. I just started. Yeah, so this is the background I got commissioned. This is an image version. Thankfully, the artist that I commissioned, they had both a video format version and also an image version. I tried to get the video version. I still got to figure out how to work it, but for now you have the image version. But I love it. I honestly love it. Like, here, let me show you a little bit more. I'm gonna remove myself, but yeah, this is like the inside of the tree house. So if you see in the starting soon, like, I'll show it momentarily, but in the starting soon, yeah, that's the outside of it. And this is the inside, at least like on the top floor at least. But yeah, like, oh my god, I love it so much. Also, one thing I love about it, actually I'll show it here, is that there's actually two versions of this. This is the daytime version and this is the nighttime. Oh my god, nighttime is so beautiful. I love it. I love these colors. I love this composition. Like, this just came out so amazing. I love it so much. I'm gonna put it in the daytime. It's funny because technically it is night, but I'll just put it in daytime for now. But yeah, no, the artist who commissioned me, let me actually get her again, let me get them again, because yeah, they did a really lovely job. And again, I have an animated version, but I still have to find a way to like set it up, because I think it has to do with probably my computer. Sorry, I'm like yawning a bit, but just real quick, I'm just gonna get this artist. I'm gonna put their thing here on I'll put it here on the chatting thing, but that's the link to the artist. I do have to, okay, one thing I do have to fix is I do have to fix this. I think what I might do, actually I have to fix that off stream, because I have to fix the chat box for that, but I could figure that out later. Also, let me do this on YouTube as well, just in case if anybody happens to lurk or show up on YouTube. But yeah, basically, if you're probably wondering what's going on today, so today was a stream I was supposed to do yesterday, but I wasn't feeling so hot, so we're doing it today. This is the, oh wait, okay, I thought the background had issues. Today, this is actually the last stream that we are gonna have of 2023. And basically, wait, did I say 2023? 2025? Oh my god, why did I say that? Oh my god. No, this is the last stream in this channel of 2025, and then on New Year's Day, which is Thursday, we're gonna be having our first stream, which is jumping back into Fantasy Life, because I actually had a lot of fun with that game. So yeah, but here is what we are planning to do today, because I actually want to show you guys something that I made that's actually like, let's just say that if you have New Year's resolutions but you struggle to like have a schedule of like committing to them or like having them done, I actually have something that I've been using this year. Like for 2025, I started something that has actually helped me out a lot, and I am gonna show you what I've done to keep like a lot of like what I've been able to do. It's helped me a lot with being able to work, especially on big projects, like keeping it's kind of like giving yourself a deadline every month, but it's a deadline that helps you, you know, like it helps you out with like it's like having a deadline. I'm gonna move myself up a bit, but it's basically like having a deadline, but it's a monthly thing where it's good for like organizing stuff for like the month and everything. So again, I highly recommend it. But before we get to that, I do want to have a little bit of a talk or a discussion, because some people, I guess I want to talk more about what was like my kind of like personal goals this year. And it's funny too because I made a paper. I'm looking at, it's actually above my monitor, where it was like these were my resolutions. Actually, let me grab it because I might as well, like, I'm gonna actually start checking this off. But basically I made a paper where I hung it in a thing above my monitor, but it's a paper, I'm actually holding it right here, that it basically lists off like New Year's resolutions I made for myself for this year. And there's a couple of them that I'll admit there were some that like I wasn't able to get done this year just because I was focused on like the 2.0 stuff, but there were things I was able to get done, and that's something that for me I was very happy about. Sorry, I had to like wipe my nose, so if you notice my model twitching up. So I kind of wanted to just share a little bit of that. So one of my goals that from 2025 was, actually, let me get my you know what, I'll get this is perfect. I got a little marker here. I'm just gonna use this for now, but basically I just wanted to go over like all the goals I made. And like there are some here that I've actually did manage to successfully complete. So one of the goals here was to rebuild my art portfolio and website, which I actually did. So I'm gonna put, let me see. Okay, I probably should have gotten like something for, you know what, I'll do this. It's not like I don't think it's gonna bleed through, so you know what, yeah, we'll do it like this. So yeah, one of my goals for this year was to rebuild my art portfolio, which I definitely did. I'm actually here, let me give you guys the link to it. I will admit I haven't updated it since like maybe I think August or September. But I do want to get back into it because I genuinely do like this website. But just to give you a link, this is the art portfolio. I also got to update my links in the description. I know it's a little bit outdated, but yeah, this is my art portfolio. So more specifically, one of the things I really wanted to do was get an art portfolio, like, because this year I also rebooted like sort of more or less like me as an artist. That was something I really wanted to focus this year. Actually, before we continue on with the list, I do want to talk about more specifically, like, you know, before, actually, I probably should have done this first. But one thing I did wanted to have a discussion about was more of like, how have the years been? In terms of like, because I feel like, you know, when it comes to New Year's, like the New Year's and the end of the year, I feel like a lot of people, it's very easy for a lot of people to just focus on the negatives. And I get it. Like, it's easy to think about all the bad stuff that's happened and all the negative stuff that's happened. But I try to be very fair about, like, you know, for me, I try to see a balance. I try to see like the good and the bad. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, I don't want to, but obviously I do want to say I don't want to invalidate people who, you know, especially people that, I don't know, lost family members or went through something really, really tragic or horrible. Obviously, if you consider it the worst year because of that, that is 100% valid. So obviously that's a much different situation. I was mainly talking about people that, like, I don't know, like they go through, like, I don't know, they stub their toe in the morning and they consider that like already makes the year worse, and it's like, okay man, chill, you know. But like, in all seriousness, what I usually try to do is I try to balance it. I try to balance the positives and the negatives. I don't want to kind of, you know, I don't want to try to sugarcoat stuff, but I also don't want to just like make everything feel like a downer. So when I think of like, whenever I think of like how the year was for me, I think of, I try to think of the good and the bad. And I will say this, because I also started thinking about the last like couple of years of my life, because I could go on about like how, you know, I've been kind of on a journey, like especially the last 8 years, but you know, that's a whole different story. But I will say this, like starting, I want to say, especially since I started off as a VTuber, I think I spoke about this a little bit in my debut, but just to go into more detail, when I started off as a VTuber, which was in 2022, that year had a strong start for me, but then at the end of the year, things got kind of rough. And and my mental health went through another like declining phase. And then in 2023 was kind of like what I consider to be one of the worst years I went through because a lot of bad stuff happened. However, on the positive note, I finally got therapy, and you know, the therapy has definitely helped me out a lot, so no regrets there. And then in, you know what, let me have Charlie here. Actually, I'll have you here, but I also want to have Charlie here. And then in 2024, I told myself like I kind of wanted to just use 2024 as a year of healing, you know, because after everything that had happened, you know, after all the stuff that I had to deal with, I kind of wanted 2024 to be like a healing year for me. So I took 2024, like I did some streams, but I kind of took it easy in 2024. I focused more on mental health and therapy and stuff, and I kind of slowly got back to the swing of what I wanted to do beforehand. Also, I got my job, so like I got a job, so that was really good. And this year, hi to the three of you. Thank you, you Squid. Thank you. And this year, like 2025, I wanted to kind of jump back to what I was doing before. I wanted to go back to like, you know, doing the stuff I wanted to do. I wanted to, you know, work on projects again. There was a lot of things I really wanted to do. And for 2026, I kind of want to just sort of continue what I sort of started this year, but I have very specific ideas in mind, specific goals in mind. But yeah, that's kind of how the last couple of years have been for me. And yeah, like this year was kind of more or less just me jumping back into what I wanted to do for a while, focusing on both like personal projects as well as the you know, like the VTuber projects, and also rebooting my art. And yeah, to go back on my, okay, now we can go back on the New Year's resolution. So yeah, one of the first goals I did achieve was rebuild my art portfolio and website. Now, there were a couple of things that I couldn't, like, I'll say this, the next couple of ones I did start and do research, so I would say that that's kind of like there has been progress on that, but that was something this thing I had to put on hold, which is to work on my first children's book. And the reason I had to put that on hold was because of the 2.0. And to tell you the truth, I don't feel bad about that, just because with the thing I kind of had to learn about myself as well is that when it comes to projects, it can be a little tricky to balance multiple projects. And I feel like with the 2.0, it was definitely a huge project that I really had to balance out. So what I ended up doing, especially during the summertime, was I actually still have, like, I started working on a children's book, and I still have like the and this is the thing too. Yes, I did stop working on it momentarily, but I still have that and I still want to work on it. So if anything, for that project, I put it on pause, but I'm going back into this. I just wanted to focus on the 2.0. And now that the 2.0 is done, basically, I mean, I can just say, like, yeah, 2026, that's going to be one of my #1 goals, is to actually work on that, like seriously work on that. But the fact that I did started, and also the other thing I said was to find an agent to publish my first book. I did research, so I do know more or less like where I need to look, where I need to go, where I need to check out. But like I said, I did start that, which is something that like in the last few years I wasn't able to do. So even if I couldn't complete the goals, the fact that I was able to get a head start, or at least a push into it, compared to like the last few years, because I've been wanting to do this for a while, and this is the best progress I have made. So I like to think that at least there was something to it. Okay, this one, do I say that I accomplished this? I feel like this one's kind of weird, because this one says that stream less games and do more art streams. This one's kind of weird because like the thing is, oh my god, the model, it's crazy how expressive the model can be. The thing is, I feel like in the beginning I kind of had a little bit of that going on, but then again, halfway through the year I kind of because I was working on the 2.0 and I had to keep it a little bit secretive, I had to kind of focus less on that. I do want to get back into doing more art streams again, so I think, and I'm gonna talk more about how I'm gonna probably approach streaming and art and a few other things. Like, I'm actually gonna bring up something else, but yeah. And then, okay, this one's kind of weird, but like, yeah, like this year is like, oh yeah, watch less VTubers and focus more on art. Kind of ironic, but I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but I'll say this, it didn't work. I mean, for better and for worse, but I think what that really meant was, like, you know, it was important to try to like become less distractive of watching a ton of VTuber streams and more focus on like working on projects. So that's something that I would say that for where it counted, it worked. But you know what, actually, given that I was able to complete this, I'm gonna put a check on that, because in a way there were some things I didn't watch as much as I used to. So I think I'm gonna put a check on that. And then here, this is a 2.0 model, work on it, I completed it. So yeah, that I'll say this, the best thing, and I'll talk about like what I consider to be were the pros and cons of like 2025 for me, but getting this 2.0 model done and doing the debut was definitely a pro for me. I'm very happy how this came out. Also, now that I have this beautiful background, it's like, oh my god, like this looks so good. You know, even if it's not animating, at least I have the image of it, so it's like, oh my god, this is beautiful. I love this. And then this one's like a more personal one, but one of the things I added was be braver, and what that basically meant was more like, you know, and I've talked about this with 2.0 in my debut, is like when it comes to like, you know, pushing myself to socialize and make friends and find people, I'm a bit of a scaredy baby. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge scaredy baby about that. I would say there have been things I have taken steps to, so I'd like to say that there are some things that I'm a lot braver about, but when it comes to, again, making friends, I'm still like a little bit scared, but I'd like to say that I've been doing a lot better. I need to work on it more, but I'd like to say that I'm slowly getting better at it, like slowly, you know. There's more things I know I have to like improve on. Like, I have a lot of room to improve on, but I do want to keep going at this. Like, you know, again, maybe it's gonna take a little bit slower than I wanted to, but if I can just keep going, then that's what's gonna matter to me. I just don't want to give up. Like, as long as I made some progress is better than no progress. Like, I'd rather keep going even if it's slow than like give up, and then like, you know, like I don't want to give up. And then I also wrote here like things to do often in 2025, which is one of them was like go to the cafe to work on scripts and concept art, which I did do. And I'll say this, this really helped me when I worked on like certain ideas, certain concepts, certain, like when I had to write scripts for stuff, going to a cafe where I didn't have to worry about like, oh, getting distracted on my computer, that really helped me. So I definitely am gonna keep doing that. But yeah, I did that. I want to say that fan art, I want to draw more fan art. I was supposed to do more this year, but I kind of got distracted, so that's something I definitely got to work on. I did draw more narrative illustrations for the portfolio, so even though I did stop towards the end of the year, I did actually, to be fair, the 2.0 could be definitely good material for the portfolio, like at least for the stuff I did. Obviously there were things I didn't do, but when it came to, for example, my VTuber model, certain things that I do have, that is something like that was something I did. So for the stuff I did, that's perfect for the portfolio. And then the other one was read more graphic novels. I'm actually gonna put a check. There were graphic novels I did started reading. I still need to get back to doing graphic novels. And then there's a couple of things here, like I'm just gonna put a few checks here. This is just some other stuff, like personal stuff. So but yeah, this is basically, I would argue that I was able to get a few things accomplished this year. There's a couple of things I definitely need to work on, but now that I have the 2.0 debut, I'm just very happy I was able to get stuff done. Now, real quick, okay, now that that's out of the way, what was the next on the agenda? Okay, so I want to talk about my goals for 2.0, but I need to change the location. So actually, Charlie, I'm gonna have to, actually you two, I'm gonna need to use this. Where did I put, okay, question is, where did I put the toggle for this? Oh my god, no, wait, no, I'm like, oh, there it is, okay, I need this toggle. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna put some music on. So it's quiet now, but I'm gonna put a little music, so don't y'all worry. Where's the music? Okay, I'm gonna close this, we don't need this, and then let me put some music. So okay, I hope that music isn't too loud. I tried to put it in a volume. I'll lower it down just a little bit, but I tried to put it in a volume that's like tolerable. Anyways, okay, so first off, okay, so which one do I want to pull up? Oh, you know what, I gotta pull up, sorry, I'm like where is it? Okay, so we gotta pull up the 2.0 because I actually want to pull up information in regards to my 2.0. I'm actually gonna not pull up the slide, but pull up something else that I have. I think it should be good. Boom. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, I don't know why it has that. Okay, so this is ooh, you know what, fuck it, we'll do it here, whatever. I'll adjust that later. Okay, so this, for people wondering what the hell this is basically so this was just like something I typed up to help me with like setting up my 2.0, but this is an easier list to show. So these goals more or less are goals that I definitely want to incorporate you know, for 2026. Some of these are goals I made, like especially because there's the streamer goals, the artist goals, and then let me just scroll down here, and then there are the life goals. But specifically, I think for like what my resolutions I want to be, honestly, okay, so I want to say that, okay, like obviously this one, you know, create a place in community where there's an comforting, easygoing sense of companionship. That's like obviously a #1 goal. But if we're going into the specifics, specifically, I think for 2026, I kind of want to experiment more with the shorts format. And then this one says go through my backlog more, which is basically my backlog of games, because I have a lot of games I own, and I really, one thing I want to do for 2026, I will say this for the next 2 months, so basically January and February, I'm not going to be working on any major projects. I'm not going to be working on any major, actually, you know what, I have a actually, you know what, hold on, I'm gonna pull up another thing, so don't mind me, I just want to pull up something else. Okay, this is for my own personal gratification, so don't y'all worry. A little thing, this is just me for, okay, okay, I'm just pulling this up. You know what, actually, you know what, yeah, let's pull up this. I was gonna pull this up later, but I'm just gonna pull this up. I'm just gonna make this for myself. I made a version of this, basically the same version. No, you know what, let's change. I did the same thing for 2025, so I'm gonna do the same thing for 2026. So excuse me, I am just, okay, New Year's resolutions 2026. So this is the 2026 version. You're probably wondering what the other tabs are. I will get to that when I get to that. Oh, you know what, I probably should do it in a different, I should probably do it, hold on, let me real quick, let me just, I'm sorry if this is a little bit scuffed, I'm just like, okay, I think the width, what would be the, oh shit, oh my god, I keep doing this to myself. What was it, 6, okay, I love how I love how I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna use the numpad anymore. I'm gonna use the number keys, and now when I'm typing, I just use it automatically. It's like, god damn it. Okay. Anyways, let me just adjust this real quick. I think it's like 8.5. No, wait. The width should be 11. Height is 8.5 if we're going by like the inches. Oh god. Ugh. Hold on. Yeah, this is like totally scuff, but I'm making this for myself because this is basically just me putting down. So if you want to follow along, this is me just making like a new list of like goals for 2026. And that's kind of what I wanted to do for this stream, is to like focus more on like I want to definitely do talking, but I also wanted to use this as like kind of helping out with like what specific goals do I want. And then yeah, I think this is perfect. I'm also gonna do this because where is it? Okay, I gotta straighten this a little bit. But yeah, if you guys want to follow along, this stream is meant to be more, just for the record, the stream is kind of meant to be more like I made this stream simply for the sake of like, hey, let's have a chill time. Where is it? Okay. Like one of the reasons I did the stream for like the way I did it was because I wanted to do something that was like something for people to follow along, because I know sometimes doing New Year's resolutions is like a little bit it can be a little bit rough, especially if you don't have some kind of a guideline. I want to just sort of provide a space where people can, like, you know, even if you're watching the VOD of this, I want to use this as like sort of something that could maybe help people with like figuring out their New Year's resolutions. So I'm hoping that you guys find like a use out of this. But yeah, to go back on this, so we're gonna go back to this. So I think one thing I'm going to take, I mean, I would say, okay, I think one of the first goals, because I'm gonna also make another list of like things to do more, so this I'm gonna put it there. But for one of the big goals, well, actually, let's put this one. This is the one I really want the most. So the number one goal is to create here. Oh, actually, oh shit, what am I doing? So yeah, number one goal, and then let's go back to, okay, this is so easy doing it like this. Okay, I gotta... Alright, let me just move this like so. I'm gonna put it like this. Where is it? Like that, and then I gotta make it bigger. It's a good thing I bought a thermal printer. Obviously, it's not gonna be like... Oh, shit. Obviously, it's not gonna be like the reason why it's brown, actually I might change the color. Let me make it a little bit more gray. This is just for my eyes, because I don't like having a white background. It actually is a little bit irritating in the eyes, so I keep it like I purposely have this gray, this background. But let me actually make it a little bit more like gray, because I realize it's a little too brown. Let me make it just a little bit darker. Not too dark, but you know, just dark enough where it's like, okay, it's not hurting the eyes, but all right. But yeah, the first New Year's resolutions is to create and publish a children's book. That's going to be my number one priority. There are things I'm not going to show too much just in case, because I do genuinely want to create and publish a children's book. And when I say publish, I mean actually find a publisher, like find an agent, find a publisher, like find somebody. I know self-publishing is a thing, but I don't feel really confident or comfortable doing self-publishing. I feel like I really want like to find a place that will publish my book and be able to like, you know, promote it and stuff like that. I'm still doing a lot of research about that, but basically I'm hoping to like get a publisher to you know, an agent to kind of help me out with that. But that is kind of my #1 goal for 2026. That's going to be the big thing I'm going to be focusing on. And then I'm going to go back to what I just had. So my second goal is, again, this is not in any particular order. This one is just, this one, the only exception is this is the #1 for the children's book. That's like the main focus. But everything else is a case of like this doesn't have to happen in any particular order, but you know what, that's fine. We could organize that. Let me save this. Or you know what? Yeah, you know what? Let me save it. I'll put it on the desktop for now. We can New Year's resolutions 2026. Okay. But yeah, that's, oh my god, I did this shit again. Oh my fucking god. I gotta stop doing that. Okay. But yeah, so my backlog is basically, I'll put my backlog gaming, just my backlog games more. That's basically like the games I own that I still haven't touched, and I really want to get through all of those. So that's something I really want to do. There's, I guess, like, okay, this one, should I? I'll come back to this. Let me switch back to this. Okay, so for now, when it comes to streamer goals, we're just gonna stick it like that. Obviously, with artist goals, I already put this as #1. Oh yes, actually, this one. Okay, so this one is like another big one for me. So I'm gonna actually put these two. Oh wait, why did I do that? Okay. Every year I want to clear more games in my backlog. There's too many events and live services. I'll say this, when it comes to events and live services, I mean, you could always, it kind of depends on how long these games are. I find that a lot of the games, unless the games, usually the tricky part is when it's a game that's never ending, like a farming game for me. But when it comes to games that you can beat it and there's like an ending with credits and shit like that, I usually just count that as like you beat the game. I know some people go for like 100%ing it, but it depends on the game. But I'm usually not that obsessed with, excuse me, 100%ing a game. All right, but I would say, like, if you have games, there's a website called How Long to Beat that shows you how long a game takes to beat. And I would say that as long as like your games aren't like, you know, as long as it's not like, I don't know, Xenoblade or Persona, where they're like 80-hour plus games, I think you should be fine. Sorry, I had to take a drink. Oh yeah, no, games, yeah, like those games have like events, like, no, yeah, I know what you mean, like Fortnite, Crossworlds, the mobile gachas, yeah, like I definitely understand that. It can be a little bit distracting, so I get that. All right, so for the next two goals I put, so one of them says continue to create narrative illustrations and expand portfolio. And then this one, so for this first one, this one is what I've started doing this year. I'm just going to continue it. So I definitely, I know I said that I won't be working on any major projects for the first 2 months just because of other stuff, but I do want to get back into drawing. I do want to work on narrative illustrations. I actually bought a sketchbook. Well, not a sketchbook, but a notebook. Though I did get a brand new type of sketchbook that I'm going to experiment with. But I got a notebook that, funny enough, it's a notebook that it connects to an app on your phone, and it basically tracks how you draw. And so far I've been experimenting with it, and I don't know, I might mess around with it a little bit more. But in regards to but yeah, basically I've been, if you've been following my Blue Sky and stuff, and online, you know that I've been working on a lot of art related stuff. Actually, speaking of art, so like, oh my god, I don't want to really bring up the topic, but I am aware that like apparently X implemented this stupid ass like AI bullshit thing. I will talk more about what I'm going to do, but I will say this. What I will try to do, like obviously if you follow me on Blue Sky, like for now, like that's like where I'll probably be posting my art. However, there is some stuff I still need to post on X. But I think for the time being, this is one of those things where I will make probably a more, I still need to kind of process my thoughts about it, but I will make a more, I will probably update online of like what's gonna happen art wise. But worst case scenario, like, you know, I have my Blue Sky account, I'm gonna start updating my portfolio account. I'm actually gonna be, I was thinking of adding a tab to my portfolio account, like a page that had like sketches or like stuff that I just did and everything. So I'm gonna try to do more of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I will give a more formal update, but just, you know, keep your eye out online for updates in regards to that. But I'm not gonna stop being an artist. I'm not gonna stop being an artist. I love art. No fucking AI bullshit's gonna stop me from loving that shit, from loving art. So like, so you know, that's not gonna stop me. But anyways, yeah, that's basically one of the goals for 2026. For the next one is open my own art merch website before my next con. So I've actually sold art stuff like merch at like cons. Like mainly there's one con I go to, but there's been a couple of places I've been meaning to check out. And actually there's one place that I think next year they're doing like their first con near, like in a certain area that I might be able to get to. I gotta double check with that. But basically what I would love to do is I want to open my own like art merch website and see how I can kind of like sell stuff, you know, so that if people want to buy stuff from me, I can like, you know, we could work that out and everything. I have a lot of ideas of what I want to do. I definitely want to do like merch of my VTuber self, like my 2.0 self, but I also have a lot of like, again, I got to work on fan art stuff, but I have a lot of ideas in regards to that. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that. Okay, next one. Okay, these are things I'm gonna try, but that's like the in regards to it. Okay, you know what? I think I kind of might want to. Okay, now we're getting into some heavier stuff, so I apologize. But okay, this one is like something I was gonna do last month, but I was like, you know what? I need to take care of some things in I need to take care of some things. Okay, I'm just gonna do this just so that I don't lose anything, but basically buy a better computer. So the current computer I have is a very decent computer, but it was a computer that was kind of, how do I explain? A good friend of mine, a close friend of mine, he it's kind of like a refurbish computer that he gifted it to me. It works great, but when it comes to things like, for example, playing computer games and streaming, I think streaming, it works decently, but I think when it comes to computer games, it definitely is a little bit on the outdated side. Like you probably noticed that a lot of my stream, if you buy pre-built, better to do so now. I did hear about the RAM thing. I'll say this. Oh shit. Oh, sorry, VTube Studio. I did hear about the RAM situation. I'll say this. The reason I didn't get a computer last month is because, okay, there was a lot of reasons, but one of the two big ones was, number one, I didn't want to commit to spending a lot of money on a really good computer. I talked to a lot of friends about what they recommend, what brand and stuff, and the ones they recommend, like, the thing is, I'd have to put a big investment on it, and I wasn't ready to do that. And the second reason was also that I was kind of scared that in the process of getting a new computer and prepping, the problem is when I get a new computer, there's a few things I have to do with the old one to make sure that not only do I still keep all my shit, but I don't gotta like, I need to do a process that will hopefully make sure, oh, you know what, let me lower this, let me lower myself down. I have to do a process where I gotta make sure I don't, for example, I don't want to accidentally like have to reinstall shit, because like I want to try to copy a lot of things from this. Like I always back up my hard drive anyway, so I have backups. But like what I mean is that I realize that if I get a new computer, I also might have to, like, for example, I gotta hire someone to come to my house and do like a transfer process, or I might have to bring my 2 computers from home to, like, I don't know, Best Buy or some shit or some other place. So I realized that it's not just buying a computer, I gotta like set up a lot of shit for it. So that's why I didn't buy a computer. Now, depending on how I do, there is one of the reasons I'm also not going to be doing any major like art projects for the first 2 months is because I need to look into some financial stuff for January and February. And depending on where I am and the stuff I'm told by people, I might maybe get a computer sooner than later. But for now, I kind of want to just hold off until I feel like basically right now, this computer should be fine, but probably I think like depending on how I'm able, like depending on the circumstances, I'm going to try to get everything, like I might get it sooner than later depending on circumstances. But yeah, that's my goal this year, get a new computer. Okay, I feel like, okay. I think, I mean, there's probably gonna be more goals, that I want to put on this. Let me see. Okay, because there's like goals, but there's also things that are like, okay, what are things that you want to like, do? So, where did I put the thing? Okay. Sorry, I'm like a little thing. Okay. Oh, what the hell? No. Okay. Okay, so there's one goal I'm actually gonna put for myself here, which is like I'm gonna rewrite this because I wrote it in my 2.0 in a way that I'm like, you know what, let me try to do something a little bit, let me reword this. Continue, let's see. Oh, there's a little bit of a delay, might be. Oh my god, there's a little bit of some delay. Okay. Okay. So this one, it's like taking a while, but basically I think this is for now. I'm not gonna print this today, but this is just an example of what I kind of did with my goals. Okay, this one checked out. So this one says, continue to work out your fear of commitment via therapy and research ways to make friends. So I've talked about how, like, again, I just talked about how, like, the idea of making friends kind of terrifies me, but I genuinely want to overcome that fear. So for me, part of the way I can overcome that fear is by kind of just working things out with my therapist. I'm also gonna try to like look into like ways that I could maybe like connect and communicate with people. I know there's like things like online discords and stuff. I do want to get a Discord, but that's something that's like, I'm gonna be real with people, I do want to get a Discord server, but the thing is, it's something that I want to make sure that if I get it, that things are like set in place where I'm not gonna get like troublemakers or anything like that. Like there's a few things I need to safe check with that. I know it's easy to just open a Discord server and just be like, hey, you know, but I want to make sure that it's like, I want it to be safe. I want to be smart about it. Oh shit, my VTube studio. Oh my god. But yeah, I want to be like safe and smart about it, so that's why I haven't really done anything with the Discord, but I do want to try to get that rolling this upcoming year. And then real quick before okay, so this is something I did like similarly. I'm actually gonna do this. This is just an easier way of me doing this. Can I do it like this? Let me see. Okay, I did this trick. Let's see. Things to do more often. Things to do. Actually, I think yeah, things to do more often in 2025. So this is something that I did for last year, and I want to do it for this year as well. Okay, let me shrink this down just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna no, that's fine. Okay, and then for this one, just gonna lift this up, and then oh my god, I did it again. Jesus Christ. Oh, I just realized I put 2025. It's 2026, moron. Oh my god. There we go. There we go. Okay. So this is like, again, I did this last year with like the same list that I had. So I'm just gonna do a few repeats. So I think one thing I definitely want to do is draw more fan art, because I really want to show more fan art. I've been trying to focus a lot on original content, which I think is a good thing. But I do want to like kind of do fan art stuff again. I kind of miss doing that stuff. I used to do it a lot in the old days, but the last couple of years have been weird. Actually, one thing I want to add, this might sound weird, but I need to get back into watching like animes and shows again. So like, I'm gonna put that on the list, but for now, wait, let me make sure this isn't. Actually, yeah, this I think should be fine. No. So I'm like being picky about this. Like I said, this is more of like a work stream. So again, this is my way of like showing like, hey, if you are stuck with New Year's resolutions, here's a perfect stream where you could kind of like write your thoughts down. It doesn't have to be like this. If you could use a notebook, a sketchbook, you could literally use like a word pad on like your computer or the notes app on your phone or whatever, like whatever the equivalent in the Android is. Sometimes I write shit on my on the notes on my iPhone. It actually really helps. But anyways, yeah, draw more fan art. Also read more graphic novels. I did that this year, but I still got a lot to go through. I got like so many graphic novels. I think, what was another thing? Let me check my original list. Okay, this is something, I mean, I kind of put this similar to this year. This is something that I kind of want to focus like content wise, but I actually want to create more shorts, and I also want to do art shorts where it's like me talking about my art, because I feel like the shorts have been doing so well for me, so I kind of want to just keep going with that. I feel like that's gonna really help me out. What's another thing? Let me see. What was another thing? Okay, this one. Oops, where is it? Do smaller comics. Or let me rewrite that. That sounded weird. Draw smaller comics. So I kind of want to get back into doing, I mean, this is something that would be like, this is something that would be more of like not a serious thing. It would be like a minor thing. It would be something like kind of minor. So I don't, when I say draw smaller comics, it's more like just like either one-shot comics or like mini comic pages. So that's kind of what I was thinking of doing. And then there's other, I say for now, there's things that I'm probably gonna add to this later, but the idea behind this, like I said, here, let me also move this. The idea behind this is that this is more of like, if you are struggling again with like doing this kind of stuff, maybe something like this could help you. I had something like this last year, so, and it helped me out, so hopefully maybe it can help some of you guys out. And yeah, let me okay, so I want to show a couple of things. So now we're gonna do something that I want to show. So first off, we need to go back to the Windows capture. Actually, you know what, fuck it. I pray that it doesn't show anything crazy, but I'm just gonna do this. Okay, let me set something up. So what we're about to do is I want to show something that has helped me. Actually, I want to show something. Actually, before we get to that, let me actually switch to a different tab on Photoshop and Clip Studio. Sorry, not Photoshop. So one thing, I think sometimes when it comes to New Year's resolutions, I think what tends to happen with people is like people get very discouraged easily, especially because I think for a lot of people, there was something that someone once said. I don't know who said this, but this is something that resonated with me. I think it was a streamer that said this. They said that a lot of people overestimate what they can get done in a week, but they underestimate what they can get done in a year or even a month. And honestly, that kind of changed the way I thought of things, because I think what tends to happen is that people, you know, when it comes to like the New Year's resolutions, a lot of people it's not that they don't think ahead. It's that I think when it comes to New Year's resolutions, people are like, they kind of want to get stuff done right away, but some stuff I think is better, like especially like for things like, for example, losing weight or like getting to the gym. I think a lot of people tend to get discouraged very easily, and I think especially for the month of January, it can definitely be like one of those months where people want to commit, but then they feel like they'll fail to commit and then they don't want to try again. So this year for 2025, back like last year in 2024 before the new year, I made this. Boop. I made this. I'm gonna turn the stream elements off just to show you guys, but this is something I printed out and I wrote stuff in it. And what I did here was, it is meant to be like a list, like it's a calendar and a list, where the idea behind this, I personally made this, but the idea behind it is that you basically write on the left side, on the ones with the lines where it says, like, for example, this where it says January 2025 goals, you write goals that you want to try to achieve in the month. So like these are goals that you want to try to achieve in a month, and this is what I actually used, and I made versions of it where, you know, like this one's for January, but I made one for February and this and what I actually did for the calendar, so to show you a bit of the calendar, okay, let me make sure this works. I went on this website and I love this website, so I'm gonna post the links on my chat. But I went on this website, which has helped me with this situation, which helped me make this. So let me, okay, I just want to make sure. Oh, okay, don't want to have that weird issue. Okay, wait, let me make sure I did this correctly. Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's not too bad. I thought it was gonna be worse, but that's actually not too bad. Okay, I think I can move this down just a itty bit. There we go. Oh, not too much. Okay, Okay, so this website, for people wondering what the hell this website is, this is a website. I put the link on the chat, but basically this is a website where you can make your own calendar, your own printable calendar, and you can have a PNG and everything. And what I like about this is that you can actually customize it. So obviously they have funny enough this year, but they also have obviously 2026 and even 2027. But you can also do it monthly, you can do it yearly, you can do 2 months, you can do 4 months, you can do 6 months, you could do another version of the 4 months, you can do a big version of the letters or a small version, you could do landscape or portrait, you can do the letter size, you can make it big, like movie poster size, like they have many things. You can have a note. Now, funny enough, this notes, like you could say like, oh, like if it has the notes there, why not add it to the thing? The thing is, I found that the notes was kind of small for me, so that's why I didn't commit to it. Also, you could have the thing shaded, like you could have the grid lines, you could have this more dark detail or gray, you could have the week start in Sunday or Monday, you could choose any particular day in 2026. But yeah, basically this system, the reason I love this calendar is because what I did was I actually used this website last year to make these calendars. And then when I basically what I did was I specifically went with this format, which is the 2 month. And the only reason I went with the 2 month format was because because it was actually the perfect size for this, for like what I did here. All I had to do was just separate the January and the February, and then I put this as like an extended version of the notes. And just to show you how these notes can work and how I did it, let's say, okay, here's a perfect example. Let's say you're doing, I don't know, like a 10-page comic. You have maybe, okay, like just to show you an example, this is just purely for example. So let's say like as a pure example, your goal is to do like a 10-page comic, and you want to like and maybe like you have the script done. So maybe your goal for January is to do like, I don't know, thumbnails of all pages. So that would be it, and then you would put it right here. And then the idea is, and then let's say like also while you're doing this, you also want to, I don't know, maybe you're trying to lose some weight and you're like, okay, I also want to I want to lose weight. I normally don't do it, so we're gonna say lose, I'm gonna put lose 5 pounds. I normally don't do it like this, I do it individually, but the idea behind this is that what I'm doing here is, this is basically me trying to make like a list of, like I said, I wouldn't normally do it like this, but for the sake of example, we're just gonna have it like this. The point of this list, oh my god, I did it again. Okay, the point of this list is that it's to set you up with goals, so that and I did this for all 12 months, and you don't have to commit to all the goals, but the idea is that it gives you like almost like a purpose, like something to do every month, something to work towards every month. And then like I said, when I went back to the first example of the comics, like I did a format where, for example, if I want to work on a big project like doing 10 comic pages, the first thing would be to do the thumbnail process. And then maybe for the month of February, you maybe do, I don't know, maybe you do like, you draw out like the sketch version of maybe page 1 and 2 or 1 through 5. March, you do, I don't know, 6 through 10. April, you do the line art. You know, it depends on how you are. The thing is, you kind of have to also understand like what is your limits, what you can and can't do. But the idea of this format that I created was, it's meant to help you kind of every month have something to work towards. Because I think, for example, for a lot of people, doing a 10-page comic in 1 month is a lot. and they get discouraged easily. But if you split it to manageable things every month, you can actually get it done within maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. For me, that's how I was able to not only work on my 2.0, getting a lot of the process, the design, building the model, the coloring, the rendering, the rigging. This helped me with that, but also it helped me with working on, like, again, I was working on a children's book. I was doing the narrative illustrations for the portfolio. I was working on things for the portfolio. This really helped me out. And what I would love to, what I did was, I have like a lot of these markers, and what I like to do was, just to show you an example, I'll just do this real quick. Whenever I completed something, I would go with my markers, and let's do a nicer color. And I would do, I'm just gonna do this is like me using my pen, but this is not my pen, but my mouse. But I would put, you know what, I can use my pen. Okay, there we go. So basically I would do like a check. And then another thing I also did, just to keep track of stuff, is I would also put a check of when I did it. So for this, I put it like this. Now, you could also do it like other ways. Like, for example, if this is number 1, let's say like this was the first thing you completed, you could put like number 1, and then you completed this, and this is number 2. You could put, I don't know, like right here, this is number 2. So you could do it like that. I did it like this. I did it this way because you know, you can do it however you want, but the idea is that this helps you with, like, my idea is like this helped me with like keeping track of what I needed to get done, especially for big projects. And what I am hoping is that for all of you guys, this could maybe help you with, for example, maybe there's something you want to do for 2026. It doesn't have to be a project. It could be something small, something simple, but maybe you're struggling with like how to approach it, how to like go into it. So for me, this I'm actually going to be like on both X and Blue Sky. I'm going to be making like blank versions of these for the 2026 version. I did it last year for this version, but I'll do it for 2026 version. But I definitely recommend this if, like, let's say you're somebody that you want to work on projects and you don't know, oh my god, okay, there we go, you don't know how to like you don't know how to approach it. So this is definitely something I recommend. I'm just gonna delete this, but yeah, this is actually, I even opened this up because this is like the stuff for like the 2026, but I will edit that later. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to share with y'all, of like how to, like, you know, if you're stuck with making New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, that's how I basically did it. So one last thing, so we're probably gonna end a little bit. I want to end this stream, I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised that it ended up being short. Let's actually go back to the chatting screen because I do want to talk about a couple of things. Let me okay, there we go. Okay, so also let me pull myself up again. So one thing I do want to talk about is, like, I want to give some final advice, like some final words before we get to also let me close this. Burp. And I could just pause this. I want to give some final advice before we finish up, before we wrap up. Also, I need a drink real quick. Actually, you know what? Let me actually, how do I want to do this? Actually, you know what? Let's go back. Let's actually go back here. You know what? Let's go back to the art page. Oh my god. But I want to give some final advice. This is actually super important. So this is something I will, okay, it's a good thing I didn't close this yet. but this is actually important. So to wrap up the stream, I want to give some final advice to help people, because sometimes when it comes to New Year's resolutions, it can be very, you know, I think for some people there are some things that can be a little bit like hard to deal with. Yeah, I gotta pull out the book and pen for this, but this is very, very important. So let me just set this up a little bit. But I wanted to give some advice because, again, there are some people that when it comes to especially New Year's resolutions, it could be very tricky. It could be a little bit daunting. So I want to give some tips. So yeah, let me set this up a bit. So just give me one sec. You know what? I'll do it right here. This is fine. Okay. Okay, tips. Tips for... I'm just gonna put tips for now. Okay. So these are just some advice, like some tips of like how to help you out with stuff. And it's like more like advice, but also just some tips that I think is important, especially for a lot of people. So the first one is, I think honestly the most important is oh, sorry, my folks are there. Oh my god. Sorry about that. My mom came home and I'm like, oh, I had to let her know. Okay. Anyways, let's get back to these. This is gonna be like the wrap up for it. But basically for my tips, the first one is start small and how do I, what would it be? Start small and don't want to say realistic. Yeah, you know what? Let's put small and realistic. The reason I say this is because, okay, to go on an example, one of the most common New Year's resolutions people have is to lose weight. But the problem is, I think what tends to happen is that people want to lose weight, but they already just want to lose, like, I don't know, there are people that want to be like, oh, I want to lose like, I don't know, 25 pounds in 1 week, which, by the way, that's not good. That's not healthy. You should not be losing 25 pounds. That's actually something you should go to a doctor if that happens. But in all seriousness, I think what tends to happen is that people will put a super high goal that cannot be managed with achieved in like a week, and then when they don't achieve it, they basically give up and then they don't want to try again. And I think honestly, again, this is why I kind of did the monthly goals, because I feel like instead of trying to go for something big right off the first month, it's best to try to split it and start it with something small and realistic. So to do the weight loss example, instead of saying you want to lose 20, like even if you put 25 pounds in a week, or 25 pounds in a month, that might still be a little bit rough for people, especially, and this is coming from somebody that does not like to exercise, like, you know. So instead of doing like, I don't know, lose 25 pounds in a month, just think of like, okay, like maybe you could start with like losing like 2 pounds a week. So 4 weeks times 2 is 8. Like 8 pounds seems reasonable. It seems small. It's realistic. And then if you're able to achieve that in 1 month, you just keep going. And then by month 2, you've lost 16 pounds. Month 3, you lost 24 pounds. Month 4, you've lost 32 pounds. Month 5, 40 pounds. Basically, you'll get to a point where you actually do end up losing weight. And if you feel like you can increase a little bit after a certain time, go do it. But I think it's very important to just focus on sticking to something small first and be realistic of what you can and can't do. So like, don't try to go for something that's like, oh, do something huge within the first month. No, try to stick to something small. Or if you want to work on a big project, try to split it into goals that you can do within each month. Again, the comic example, maybe you can thumbnail the comic for like the first month, and then maybe work on the first 5 pages for month 2, the first 5 pages for month 3. It depends on how and when you want it to be done. But doing like the monthly goals again helps. What was the other thing I thought about? Oh, you know what? Here's the other tip. I said this before, but I'll add to this. You don't need to do all the goals. You don't need to do, just have them visible just have them visible to have a focus. Okay, so this is what I mean by this. Basically, when it comes to the monthly goals, like I showed everybody, so for this thing, I know it's easy to get discouraged when you don't complete a goal that you wanted to do, but here's the thing. It's important to remember that when it comes to like New Year's resolutions and goals, the purpose of a New Year's resolution, in my opinion, is to be able to focus on something for the new year, for like the year, something you want to improve, something you want to do, something you want to achieve. And I think it's like, for me, and this is something I remember somebody said, because somebody made like a summer goal list of things they wanted to do for the summer. And one of the things they said, because they couldn't complete every list, but they said this, they said that the important thing is not to get everything on the list done. It's to just have things on the list to do that you want to focus on working towards the summertime, you know, because for some people, you know, summer is fun as a kid, but when you become an adult, it might not be the best. And I think in the case of New Year's resolutions, I think there are some people that feel weird about it because it's like, oh, it seems fun, but there might be a point where you get a little discouraged. And I think this is the best mentality to go for, is like, rather than focusing on completing all the goals, just focus on having it visible so that you could have a focus. So for example, when I do the calendar setups, I print them and I actually put them right next to my monitor. And every month I change them so that I know that if I have to focus on something, I see what you mean. Having a direction to go for. Exactly. Having a direction to go forward, you know, having like something where it's like, if you feel like, oh, maybe I should do something this month, you have like a list of things to do. So that is kind of the real purpose. That for me is the real reason to do it. And again, it can really help people who want to really achieve things like projects and a lot of other stuff. So that's another advice. Another advice, this one, okay, how do I word this? This one's another one that's gonna be tricky to word. I'm gonna be trying to be very careful how I word this, but this is actually something that I think is very important. This is something that I think is super important for some people to hear. Oh god, my VTube studio is acting up. Okay, let me try to word this. I'm gonna be very careful. Okay, how do I word this? Okay, this is a little bit delayed. I think it's because I have a lot of programs on. I'm gonna butcher this spelling. Oh my god, I'm like butchering this spelling. Okay, this one is very important. Oh shit. I did not mean to do that. Okay. This one is super important, but this one is, don't wait for life to give you the right circumstances. Start now. Let me explain this because this is very important. I've seen two types of people when it comes to and this isn't even just a New Year's resolution. This is just like people wanting to achieve their dreams or wanting to do things. There are two types of people that I've noticed. There are the people that will be like, oh, there's something I want to do, but life right now isn't the best for me. I need to wait for the right time. I need to wait for the right moment. I need to wait until the circumstances is right for me to be able to start working on the things that I love to do. I need to wait for the right circumstances, the right, you know, the right moment when all the stars have aligned and everything like that. Once that happens, then I'll start doing what I want to do. I've seen people with that mentality, but I've also seen people with the exact opposite mentality. I've seen people be like, oh, what's the point? Life will never be good for me. I'll never get what I want. I'm gonna be miserable. Every year is gonna suck. I'm never gonna accomplish my goals. Like, there's no point, blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing. The reason I bring both those mentalities, because they're kind of like two sides of the opposite spectrum, but there's one thing they both have in common. They both have this mentality where in order to achieve the things you want to achieve, you have to wait for life to basically make it perfect for you. You have to wait for the circumstances to be perfect for you. You have to wait for life to basically tell you, hey, right now, everything is the best way for you to start this shit. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot do that shit. You cannot wait for life to just give you the right fucking set of circumstances, because guess what, guys? That's never gonna fucking happen. If you believe, regardless of how you mentally think of things, now, okay, obviously there are circumstances, like, for example, like, oh, maybe you're still in school, or maybe you are about to get married, or maybe you just had a baby. Obviously that's like a different kind of thing, but what I mean is, you cannot wait until you think that, like, yeah, the stars have aligned, but also you cannot put your mental state in a mind where, oh, you can't. Hi, Relay, welcome on in. I'm doing like New Year's resolution stuff. I'm also giving out tips of like what to do for the new year, so welcome on in. Hello. But yeah, I'm talking about how like people should not wait for life to give you the right circumstances. You cannot have your mental state believe, oh, I have to wait until the stars align to start this or do that. You should start now. You should start now. And I want to bring up a couple of perfect examples, because I've also seen the argument that when it comes to, for example, people that got famous from YouTube or VTubing and stuff, that, oh, but they got lucky, that's why they're famous and popular. But here's the thing, guys, I will say that sometimes luck can be a factor, but here's the thing that you need to understand. I'm gonna bring up one example. I'm gonna bring up Markiplier. You know Markiplier, the FNAF guy. You know, he just released a movie. You know, we all know him, we all love him, you know. Here's the thing, I remember Markiplier talking about how when he started doing YouTube, if I recall, he did YouTube as like kind of something to do when he was working for his jobs, and he didn't initially start doing YouTube to do like, you know, content stuff. He just did it because he needed to blow off steam from like real life shit he was dealing with. And I think he even mentioned that there was a point where he was gonna stop doing it, but he kept doing it mainly for the fun of it. But the thing was, he was mainly doing it for fun, and it wasn't until, you know, he played Five Nights at Freddy's and the horror games that then he started to blow up. He got, you know, you could say that that was when the luck in him triggered, and then that's when he blew up and, you know, became the big content creator we know and love. And the reason I bring up Markiplier is because, yes, you could say that he had that moment, but the thing is, guys, he would not have had that moment if he didn't continue with YouTube. He would not have had that moment if he had chosen to stop doing YouTube. You know what I mean? If he had waited for the right circumstances, if he had told himself that I'm gonna wait later to continue with YouTube, he probably would not have been able to be as big as he was today. He was able to do, like he already, basically, Markiplier put himself in the right set of circumstances. And then he put the work and effort to put himself where he was. And then eventually, like, and then things happen. And then obviously, like, the FNAF thing happened. But the only reason that was able to happen was because he put himself in those circumstances. And I think that's kind of the main thing that's very important, is that even if you don't, like, to give an example, even if you, like, if you want to do YouTube and you feel like you can't, like, just like, you, like, it's not the right circumstances, you should do it anyways, because at least you're putting yourself in the YouTube sphere. And then maybe later on you might end up in that moment where in that particular sphere, like, think of it like this, it's like a sphere where the lightning of luck might strike, and as long as you're in the sphere already, you have a chance. There's no guarantees, but you have a chance. But if you're not in the sphere, you don't got a chance at you have zero chance. You get what I mean? So yeah, put yourself, like, basically what I'm saying is, don't think that you gotta like wait for like the right set of circumstances. You gotta start now. You gotta start now. you don't have to just right away just throw a bunch of stuff in. You could start slow and small, but the idea is like, don't think that like, again, especially that negative doomer mentality I had, the doomer defeatist, where it's like, oh, life is always gonna suck, the year is always gonna suck. It's like sorry for swearing, but motherfucker, with that mentality, yeah, it's gonna suck because you're gonna think in that mentality. But maybe if you change the mentality and think, okay, maybe I can try this so that the year won't suck a lot. And again, I know some circumstances, again, this isn't about people that, you know, there are things in life that we don't have control over, let's be real. But what I am trying to say is that if you really want to have a year that sucks less, or at least you want to try to have a year that sucks less, there are some things where you need to like kind of put yourself, you got to put yourself in the right circumstances. You can't just think that life will do it for you. You got to do it. But yeah, that's basically like, yeah, that's basically one of the tips. Let me actually put this down here. But yeah, I think that's honestly the best tips to give in regards to all of this. I'm just gonna show off, like, again, my goals for this year. Again, I gotta fix this a little bit because I'm gonna print this for myself later. But yeah, I hope you guys were able to get, like, this stream was able to help you guys. Like I said, I'm gonna make like for this in particular, I'm gonna make a 2026 version and put it online. But yeah, these are my goals. And yeah, let's whoops. Oh shit. I gotta remember what my buttons are. Okay. Let's go back to chatting real quick. I need water. Okay, let me mute this. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I wanted to like talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me get some water. That was good. But yeah, that was basically all that I wanted to really like kind of go on. I know this is kind of a bit of a short stream, but I wanted this stream to just be something more focused on like, here's the way to do like New Year's resolutions, things to do. There's a couple of New Year's resolutions I want to like put in myself. But yeah, that's more or less kind of what I wanted to kind of talk about. Glad I could catch the end. If anything, yeah, like you know, there's the VOD and everything, but I'm glad you were able to stick by, Rely. I really appreciate it. Like I said, there's a lot of things for 2026 I really want to do. What I will say, I want, actually, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. For like I said, for the first 2 months, the new house looks so good, by the way. Oh yeah, my art, like, this is the background. This is like the background for the just chatting thing. So this was something that took a while to get, but yeah, I got it. Like, here, let me actually show off everything. Yeah, this is the new background. I love it so much. There's also a nighttime version. There's a nighttime version. There's a video version, but I was having issues with it, so I got the PNGs. But like, this is still so cute. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. But real quick, I also wanted to mention, so for the first 2 months, I'm not gonna work on any big big projects, big art projects. I do want to do like my monthly like narrative illustrations like I had been doing, but in terms of big like projects like the 2.0, that's not, I think I'm gonna take, like, again, January and February, there's a couple of things I gotta focus on first, so I'm gonna take like a break from doing anything crazy like that. And then there's actually, you know what, let me put an extra goal. I think I want to put one more goal, which is maybe make a, I do want to make, okay, I don't want to do any I think for 2.0, like pretty much 2.0 is going to be here for a while, but I might make a new outfit. Make a new outfit for 2.0. Okay. But yeah, like, I do want to make a new outfit. I have a few ideas for that, but I think for the most part with 2.0, like this project, again, I'm happy that I was able to debut this. Alternatively, I was going to do it on February, which was the debut of my 1.0, but I'm glad I was able to do this before the end of the year. I am very, very happy. But also when it comes to streams, I will try to stream like 3 times a week, like 2 to 3 times a week, maybe 4. But like I said, for now, it might depend. But yeah, that is kind of what I'm going to focus on. I also got to update stuff. I know I still got to update a lot of things, but yeah, I want y'all to know that I'm very happy I was able to kind of, again, I'm happy that I was able to debut 2.0. I was happy I was able to get this out. This was one of my big projects of the year. I'm very happy, and now I can focus on my other projects. I really want to get that children's book published. There's a lot of cool things I want to do. Like I said, this year there were you know, I had to deal with a couple of ups and downs, but I feel like this year there were a lot of things that really helped me out. I really felt like I kind of came back a little bit as an artist this year, and I want to kind of continue the ball rolling. I want to continue the vibe rolling, and yeah, I want to keep working on a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, I think from here, I think this is a perfect time to end. So I will be back on Wednesday. So literally the next stream you will see me is in the new year. I will be playing more Fantasy Life. I actually had fun with that game. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you all. Here, let me bring y'all back and Charlie back. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for supporting me so far. Thank you for helping me. Oh my god, sounds fun. Yeah, oh my god, I love Fantasy Life. I just got back into it. I gotta beat that game. But yeah, 2026 I think is gonna be an interesting year, but I think there's gonna be a lot of good things. I think it's important to focus on that. Like I said, I made my tips, my goals, and everything. So if you guys have any big things you want to do for 2026, like this VOD, use this VOD if you need a resource or any help or anything. But yeah, I will see you guys. Take care, Mari. See you in the new year. You too, Rely. Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope y'all end up having a really great new year. I hope you guys have a strong, oh my god, I need to get something for VTube Studio. I hope you guys have a very strong start to 2026. I wish everybody nothing but good fortune, good news, good things to come. And yeah, I will see you guys in 2026. So let's say goodbye to 2025 and let's have lots of amazing good stuff for 2026. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you guys in the new year. Happy New